Before she decides if she's attracted to you, before she even consciously processes whether she finds you interesting, her brain has already run a full background check on you. In less than 7 seconds, not on your income, not on your Instagram, not on what you're planning to say to her. Her brain has scanned your body language, your posture, the way you hold your space, the way your eyes move when you enter a room, the speed at which you walk, the tension in your jaw, the way you respond to the environment around you, and it has already formed an impression so deep and so fast that no conversation you have afterward will fully override it. Most men are spending their entire lives trying to say the right thing, memorizing opening lines, practicing conversation topics, thinking about what to wear, what to drive, what to talk about, and all of that, every single bit of it, is secondary. It is decoration on a building whose foundation was already judged before you opened your mouth. Here is the truth that changes everything. Women do not primarily notice what you say. They notice what you broadcast. And you are broadcasting constantly, through your body, your energy, your habits, your posture, your eyes, whether you are aware of it or not. The question is not whether you're sending signals. You are. Every single moment you're in a room with another human being. The question is, what are those signals saying about you? And does the man your body is describing match the man you believe yourself to be? If there is a gap between those two things, and for most men, there is, then you are losing attraction before you ever get the chance to create it. Stay with me, because what I'm about to teach you is going to change the way you understand every social interaction you've ever had, and every one you will have from this point forward. Joe Navarro spent 25 years as a special agent for the FBI, and before that, he grew up in Cuba, arriving in the United States at 8 years old, unable to speak a single word of English. To survive, to understand the people around him, to navigate a world whose language he didn't speak, he became one of the most precise readers of human nonverbal behavior on the planet. He didn't just study body language academically. He used it to catch spies, to detect deception, to read criminals who had spent their entire careers learning to lie convincingly. His book, What Everybody Is Saying, has sold millions of copies and is considered one of the definitive guides to understanding what the human body communicates beneath conscious awareness. And what Navarro found, through decades of fieldwork, not theory, is something that completely rewrites the way most men think about attraction. He says that the limbic brain, the oldest, most primal part of the human mind, processes nonverbal signals faster than conscious thought. Before your rational brain has had time to form a complete sentence, your limbic brain has already classified the person in front of you as safe or threatening, weak or strong, trustworthy or suspect, attractive or avoidable. And women, Navarro's research confirms, are statistically more accurate at reading these signals than men, not because they are smarter, because evolutionary survival, historically, required them to be. The ability to accurately read the intentions, the emotional state, and the character of the people around them was a matter of safety for thousands of years. That skill is not dead. It is running constantly beneath language, beneath logic, and it is reading you right now. Let me tell you what it actually looks like when a man walks into a room and immediately commands it, without saying a single word. His pace is measured, not slow to the point of arrogance, not fast to the point of anxiety. He moves at the speed of a man who knows where he's going and is not afraid of arriving. His shoulders are back, not forced, not puffed, but settled, as if his body has simply found its natural width and is comfortable taking up the space it deserves. His eyes are calm. They scan the room without darting. When they land on something, they stay, not in an intimidating stare, but in the unhurried gaze of a man who is not scanning for threats because he is not afraid. When he speaks to someone, he doesn't lean in anxiously. He doesn't shrink his posture to match theirs. He is present without being invasive. He listens without performing listening. When someone says something he disagrees with, his face doesn't immediately scramble to accommodate. There is a beat of genuine consideration before he responds. Women in that room have registered all of this before he has spoken 5 words to any of them. Their limbic brains have processed the entire broadcast and returned a verdict. This man is worth paying attention to. Now think about the average man walking into the same room. He comes in slightly hunched, shoulders forward, protecting the chest instinctively. His eyes move quickly, not with curiosity but with social anxiety, scanning for reactions, checking if he's being noticed, measuring if he belongs. He laughs slightly too quickly at things that aren't that funny. When he approaches a woman he finds attractive, something almost imperceptible shifts. His voice pitches slightly higher, his posture tightens, his eye contact becomes either too sustained or too intermittent, unable to find the natural rhythm of a man who is comfortable. He hasn't said anything wrong. He might say all the right things, but the broadcast has already gone out, and the signal it carried said, "I am not entirely sure of my right to be here." Navarro identifies something he calls comfort versus discomfort signals, and this concept is essential to understanding what women are actually reading when they encounter a man. The human body, he explains, constantly communicates one of 2 states: comfort, which signals safety and confidence, or discomfort, which signals anxiety, threat, or insecurity. And the body does this involuntarily, through microbehaviors so small and so fast that the person displaying them is often completely unaware. Comfort signals look like this: slow, deep breathing, loose jaw, uncrossed arms and legs, eye contact that is steady but relaxed, not fixed, open gestures, weight evenly distributed, voice from the chest, not the throat, a genuine smile that involves the eyes, what Navarro calls the Duchenne smile, rather than the social smile that lives only in the mouth. Discomfort signals are the opposite: shallow breathing, which tightens the chest and raises the voice, lip compression, the unconscious pressing together of the lips when we're holding back anxiety, neck touching, rubbing the back of the neck or the sides of the throat, which is the body's way of self-soothing, leg bouncing, eye contact that is either aggressively held or anxiously avoided, voice that rises at the ends of statements, turning them into unintentional questions, communicating uncertainty even when the words say something confident. Here is the part that should stop you cold. Most men, when they are around a woman they find genuinely attractive, shift involuntarily from comfort signals to discomfort signals, not because they decide to, because the anxiety of wanting something, the fear of losing something you haven't yet won, activates the body's stress response. And the body's stress response communicates, in every language on earth, the same thing: I am not in control right now. And she reads it before she hears your name. There is a concept Navarro introduces in Be Exceptional that I want to spend time on because it connects body language to something much deeper than posture tips and eye contact advice. He calls it psychological comfort in your own skin. And he argues, drawing from decades of studying the most exceptional individuals he encountered in his career, that the men and women who project the most natural, most compelling, most magnetic presence are not the ones who have memorized the rules of body language. They are the ones who have done enough internal work that their body simply reflects the truth of who they are. You cannot fake genuine comfort, not sustainably, not under pressure. not in the moments that matter most, the moments when nerves arrive, when something important is at stake, when the woman you want is right in front of you, and everything in your nervous system is firing at once. In those moments, the practiced performance breaks down, and whatever is actually true underneath becomes visible. This is the thing most men refuse to hear, because it means the solution is not a technique. It means the solution is a transformation. The man whose body broadcasts confidence, comfort, and self-possession in every environment, that man is not performing. He has built that reality through thousands of days of disciplined self-construction, through training his body, through keeping his promises to himself, through developing genuine competence in areas that matter to him, through facing discomfort again and again until the presence of difficulty no longer triggers a panic response. His body is calm because his mind is built. His posture is open because he has nothing to hide and nothing to prove. His eye contact is steady because he is not secretly asking for your approval. He is simply here, fully, genuinely, undefendedly here, and that presence is more attractive than anything he could calculate or perform. Let me give you something concrete that Navarro describes in What Everybody is Saying, because this particular insight changed how I understood every social dynamic I had ever been in. He writes about what he calls territorial displays. Human beings, like all animals, communicate status and confidence through their relationship with space. A high-status, self-possessed individual takes up their full natural space. They sit with both arms resting on the armrests, not folded protectively in their lap. They stand with their feet at shoulder width, not pressed anxiously together. They use gesture freely. Their hands move away from their body when they speak, rather than staying close and contained, which is a subconscious attempt to make oneself smaller, less threatening, less visible. The low-status, anxious individual does the opposite. They compress. They take up less space than they need. They fold inward. And this compression, Navarro explains, is not just a symptom of insecurity. It actively creates more insecurity because the body and the mind are in constant dialogue. The posture of defeat produces the feelings of defeat. The posture of confidence, even before the internal state has shifted, begins to produce the feelings of confidence. This is not a trick. This is neuroscience. Amy Cuddy's research on power posing, however debated the specifics, points at something Navarro confirmed from a completely different angle through field research. The body is not just expressing the mind. It is shaping it. A man who consciously daily practices taking up his full natural space, in the gym, at his desk, walking down the street, sitting in a restaurant, is not just managing his appearance. He is in a constant, ongoing conversation with his own nervous system. He is training his brain to associate his natural presence with safety rather than threat. And over time, that training becomes identity. It becomes who he is, not what he's doing. Now here's where this gets genuinely powerful, and where most body language advice stops short. The signals women notice before they feel attraction are not just physical. They are behavioral. They are the patterns that reveal, over the course of minutes or hours or days, the consistent character of the man beneath the surface. Navarro writes about what he calls pacifying behaviors, the things people do unconsciously to manage their own anxiety in social situations. Playing with a phone, adjusting clothing repeatedly, checking the watch when there's no reason to check the watch, touching the face. These behaviors are not random. They are the body trying to calm itself down. And a man who is constantly pacifying himself in a social environment is communicating, without a word, that he is not comfortable, that he is managing something, that he is the second man, call him Isaac, does something different without trying to do something different. He arrives slightly late, not fashionably, but genuinely, because he was finishing something that mattered to him and didn't rush it. He gets a drink slowly, without scanning the room for the most attractive woman. When he does eventually start a conversation, it is with the person nearest to him. Not the most impressive person, not the most attractive person, just whoever happens to be there. He is genuinely curious about what they're saying. His phone stays in his pocket the entire evening. When he eventually ends up in conversation with the woman Kevin was trying to impress, he is no different with her than he was with anyone else. He doesn't lean forward more. His voice doesn't change. His posture doesn't tighten. She notices this immediately, not consciously, but somewhere beneath language, her brain registers. This man treats me the way he treats everyone. He is not performing for me specifically, which means everything he shows me is real. That realness, that consistency, is more attractive than anything Kevin practiced in the mirror. Here is an insight that most men in this space never reach, and it is one of the most important things I can give you today. The signals women notice before they feel attraction are not about impressing her. They are about revealing you. And the revelation that creates genuine attraction is not, "Look how confident I am performing." It is, "Look how comfortable I am simply existing." Navarro makes this point in Be Exceptional when he talks about what he calls gravitas, the quality of presence that the most exceptional people he worked with seem to carry naturally. He describes it as a combination of genuine authority, earned through competence and experience, and genuine calm, developed through the repeated practice of staying composed under pressure. Gravitas is not performed. It cannot be performed convincingly for any sustained period of time. It is the natural radiation of a man who has been through things, built things, kept his word to himself through difficulty, and arrived at a relationship with himself that is genuinely settled. The man with gravitas does not need to announce himself. He does not need to speak loudly, gesture broadly, or make sure everyone in the room knows he has arrived. His presence does the announcing, and a room, especially a woman who is paying the kind of unconscious attention that Navarro describes, feels it before any deliberate communication has happened. This is why self-development is not just a philosophical project. It is a physical one. Every discipline you maintain, every promise you keep to yourself, every time you do the hard thing when the easy thing was available, it deposits something in the account that eventually becomes gravitas. It becomes the settled, unforced, unchallengeable sense of self that broadcasts through your body before you ever open your mouth. I want to address something directly, because it comes up whenever this topic is discussed, and it is a trap that swallows men whole. Some men hear all of this and think, okay, so I need to learn to fake confidence, to mimic the body language of a high-value man, until it becomes second nature, to practice the posture, the eye contact, the voice, as a performance that eventually becomes real. And there is a grain of truth in that. Navarro acknowledges that behavior and internal state influence each other, and that consciously adjusting behavior can begin to shift internal state over time. The posture of confidence, practiced consistently, does begin to produce the feelings of confidence. But here is the critical distinction. Practicing confident body language as a foundation for genuine development is very different from using it as a substitute for genuine development. A man who practices better posture while also building his discipline, his competence, his financial foundation, his emotional regulation, that man is using the physical practice to support a real transformation. A man who improves his posture and eye contact, but does nothing about the life those eyes are looking out from. That man is putting a confident frame around an empty room. And women, with their extraordinary sensitivity to authenticity, will feel the emptiness eventually, usually faster than the man expects. The goal is not to become a better performer. The goal is to become a man whose internal reality is so genuinely developed that his external signals simply reflect the truth. That is not a weekend project. It is a life's work. But it is the only work that produces results that last. In attraction, in respect, in every relationship that matters. Now, I want to connect all of this to something that sits just below the surface of everything Navarro teaches, something he writes about in Be Exceptional that I think is the most important insight in this entire video. He says that the most compelling human beings he ever encountered, in 25 years of working with spies, criminals, executives, and the genuinely great, shared one quality above all others. He calls it psychological preparedness. The state of a man who has done the internal work, built the necessary competence, and arrived at each moment of his life ready. Not because he knew what was coming, but because he had built himself into someone who could handle what came. That preparedness shows up in the body before it shows up in words. It shows up in the steadiness of the hands and the stillness of the face and the unhurried quality of the breath. It shows up in the way a man responds to unexpected difficulty, not with panic, not with performance, but with a calm that comes from having met difficulty before and survived it, and grown from it. Women notice this in men the way a trained ear notices a perfectly tuned instrument, not by analyzing the technical components, but by the feeling it produces. The feeling is, this is someone I can trust, not just to be faithful, not just to be kind, but to be solid, to be present and capable and unshakable in the ways that actually matter when life gets hard. And that feeling, that specific, irreplaceable feeling of being in the presence of a man who is genuinely prepared, genuinely whole, genuinely at home in himself, is what creates the kind of attraction that does not fade after the first conversation, the kind that deepens the more she learns about him, the kind that outlasts looks and charm and all. The third thing is to build competence in areas that genuinely challenge you. Navarro's research is clear on this. Gravitas cannot be manufactured, but it can be earned. Through mastery, through the accumulated experience of having done hard things, having failed and continued, having built skills that you know are real because you built them yourself. That competence is not just useful, it is visible. It radiates from a man who knows what he is capable of in a way that no performance can replicate. The fourth thing, and this one requires the most honesty, is to close the gap between who your body says you are and who you want to be. If your posture communicates defeat, if your eye contact communicates anxiety, if your presence communicates that you are not sure you belong, then the question worth asking is not how to fix the signals. It is, what am I actually feeling that is producing those signals? And what does the man I am becoming need to build to feel differently? Because here is the final truth. You are broadcasting right now. In everything you do, in every room you enter, in every interaction you have, your body is telling your story before your mouth does. The only question is whether the story it's telling is the one you want told. Build the man. The broadcast will follow. Let me leave you with something that brings everything together. Joe Navarro, in all of his years working in some of the highest stakes human interactions on Earth, interrogation rooms, counterintelligence operations, conversations where the wrong read could cost a life, came back again and again to one conclusion about what separates the exceptional from the ordinary. It was not intelligence. It was not talent. It was not charm or charisma or any of the things we tend to think of as the gifts of the naturally exceptional. It was the commitment to self-knowledge, The relentless, honest, unglamorous practice of understanding yourself so completely that nothing you do is unconscious, nothing you broadcast is accidental, and nothing you present to the world is a performance. That standard, total self-knowledge, total self-possession, is the highest standard a man can hold himself to. It is the work of a lifetime, not a weekend. But every day you move toward it, you become more of the man whose presence creates the feeling we've been talking about today. The feeling that says, before a single word is spoken, this is someone worth knowing. Women notice that feeling before they feel attraction, because that feeling is attraction. It is what attraction actually is, not the response to what you say or what you look like, but the response to the specific, irreplaceable, completely non-transferable energy of a man who is fully, genuinely, powerfully himself. That man does not need lines. He does not need strategies. He does not need to wonder what to say or how to say it. He simply arrives, and the room, and the right woman in it, already knows. Now go become him. That is Prime Within. I'll see you in the next one.